can you explain briefly to our audience what numerology is?
Well, numerology runs on a 9-year cycle. The 8 energy is behind me. That's how it's supporting me. That's how I look at numerology. And life path number, Naveen, is a very important part of your numerology chart. It's a big piece of it.
So, folks, you have tuned into TGV, and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording. And we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak. And here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. And we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. Suzan Owens holds a master's degree from Gonzaga University and has taught English as a second language there. With extensive travel experience across Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas, she has immersed herself in diverse cultures and spiritual practices. And Suzan shares her travels on her website www.suzanowens.com and has written an award-winning book, Wisdom of Numerology. She believes numerology has played a key role in guiding her life. And as we prepare to delve into our conversation on the topic at hand, discovering your life path, numerology insights with Suzan Owens, here's an exciting twist. First, let us tickle our guest's brain. So, Suzan, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you're ready, let's dive right in.
Okay, I'm ready. Good morning, Naveen. I'm so excited to be here.
Same here. And here comes my first word, curiosity.
That's what imagination begins.
Invention.
Oh, the mental world where you think gets integrated into the physical world.
Future.
What we create.
Book.
Oh, a lot of work, but worth it.
Agree. Having published 2 books, I can imagine what it takes to publish a book. Movie.
Oh, for me, entertainment.
Food.
Fuel, sustenance, and when I think of gelato, I think of pleasure.
Universe.
Oh, the infinite world that we are all part of.
Leadership.
I would say that's guidance with wisdom and benevolence.
Wow. Role model.
Oh, I've had so many in my lifetime. Someone I admire and respect, a mentor.
Okay. And here comes the last word, success.
Oh, that's when my dreams come true.
Wow. Amazing. Spot on responses. And thank you so much for participating in the first rapid fire round so sportively, Suzan. And there is one more rapid fire round towards the end of the episode. So stay tuned. And before I formally welcome you to the show, let me welcome the audience. Folks.
Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
And Suzan, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice. Super excited to host you today. How are you?
Oh, I am doing so well. It's early morning here, and this is my favorite time of day. It's quiet. I get to think. I meditate. It's lovely. So this is a perfect time for me, Naveen. Thank you.
Amazing that we have picked up a favorable time for you. And Suzan, let's begin with your success mantra. Talk to us the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
I think connecting to my divine guidance, really. I call it my goddess. It's the goddess that comes through me and speaks to me, and my guides and my angels and all of that. And when I listen to my divine guidance, things happen. Absolutely. That's the first thing. And then my commitment to doing something. I committed to the book, to writing my book. And that was a big piece of it. And then there's actually a couple more things, but finding the joy in everything is really a big part. And timing. I think there's a big part of timing. And actually numerology is a lot of that too, is the timing.
Yeah. And we have a perfect timing today, right? We are doing this episode on numerology.
Absolutely. It's perfect today. Thank you. Yeah.
Right.
Actually, I'll tell you, today is an 8-day, Naveen.
Mhm.
Today is an 8-day, all about business management, being an authority. I'll talk about the number eight. Sure. Sure. I'll get back to it. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. And let's dive into the topic. Okay. Numerology is one of the interesting aspects. And my knowledge is very limited. I have done one episode in Telugu, our vernacular language, my mother tongue, and with one of my friends who started learning numerology. And I have very limited exposure to numerology. So in India, we believe 9 is auspicious and lucky, and 6 is very good for attracting wealth, right? So what I do is normally when I look at the license plate numbers, I try to add them up and to see, okay, whether it is 9 or 6, and it goes by default. So that has been my hobby ever since I got to know about the significance of this numbers. But I would love to hear from you. Can you explain briefly to our audience what numerology is and how it influences our lives?
Well, numerology runs on a 9-year cycle, 1 through 9. There's master numbers, but we don't have time to get into that. So for now, we'll think about numerology as a 1 to 9 year cycle. And currently, we're in an 8-year. I already mentioned 8, but we'll talk more about it now. And 2024 equals 8. When you add 2 plus 2 plus 4 is an 8. So this is the year of business, entrepreneurship, being an authority. Money is big in an 8-year. Organization. Next year, in 2025, this is a 9-year, and that's the end of the cycle. So next year, 2025, we'll see closure, resolution, letting go, releasing what no longer serves us, and then also receiving rewards for your hard work in the last 9 years. Also, if you haven't worked very hard, 9 years is going to be pretty full. The other thing about a 9-year cycle, it's the preparing for the new cycle beginning, because 2026 will be a 1-year. So we're going to be thinking about what do we want to create for the next 9 years and making space for that in that 2025.
Got it. And I'm curious to know, how did you first become interested in numerology? What made you so enthused about it?
Well, I studied astrology for as a youngster, really, and then I've been fascinated with it. And I didn't know anything about numerology, which is kind of the mainstream. People don't really know numerology. They know astrology, right? We know our sun sign, but a lot of people don't know what their life path is. And when I found a random book on numerology, I just couldn't get enough of it. I was like a sponge. I just keep reading, and I kept finding books. I've got a huge library now. But I keep learning about numbers and how they really affect our lives. And it's easier than numerology. That's the thing that I like about it. Or easier than astrology, excuse me. You don't have to know the birth dates, the birth times. You don't have to know where the planets are. Very simple.
Wow. And you have an incredibly diverse background, having lived and worked in various parts of the world. How has your travel influenced your understanding of numerology? Do you see any difference? What's your take?
Absolutely. A 9-year is a good year to travel if you have time. And a 5-year, because a 5-year is all about expansion and change and freedom. So there's lots of travel in a 5-year, usually. I did the Camino in Spain. I walked the 500 miles in the Camino in Spain in my 9-year. It was very important for me to do that in that 9-year. So those 2 years are classic for travel. Not that you can't travel all the other years, but I expect to travel during those times, especially.
And can you share an experience where numerology significantly impacted a decision or path in your life?
Right. Well, this year, I'll get you the most recent, because this is the year, being a business year and being an authority year. The 8 energy is behind me. That's how it's supporting me. That's how I look at numerology. And with that, I decided this is my year to launch my online business. I've been a numerologist for years. I read thousands of charts and have studied it for decades. But this is the year that I really decided to put myself on social media and launch my business, doing interviews, and which I love. And so I wrote a book last year. I worked on my travel book last year, because that was a 7-year. That was a year to go inward. But 8 years all about building a business and being an authority. So this is why this is the year I launched my online business.
Got it. And for our listeners and audience who are new to numerology, could you guide us through a simple calculation to find their life path number?
It's easy. You add your birth date together. So interestingly, all you do is keep adding those digits together, and then we say reduce them to a one digit. So for instance, today is August 10th, 2024. So if you add those digits together, 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 2 is 13, plus 4 is 17. That's a 17. And then you say 1 plus 7 is an 8. So today is an 8, and your life path would be an 8. So, and we keep talking about 8. I tell you, this is an 8-year, 8 keeps coming up. So that's the easiest way to do it. And then when you add those together, you get, and life path number, Naveen, is a very important part of your numerology chart. It's a big piece of it. The other one that is our destiny, and that comes from your name on your birth certificate, and that's important. It's not it's the name you were born with. It's the name you came in to be. Now we can change our name, as I've done. A lot of people have changed their name. That doesn't change the name on your birth certificate. It doesn't change who you came in to be. It just brings in more energy of other numbers in your life. So, for instance, I changed legally my name is Susan with an S, but I put the Z in there. I spell it Suzan Owens, Suzan, because the Z is an 8. Again, the 8 number, I wanted that business authority, entrepreneurship number in my name.
Got it. Now, let's assume somebody has calculated their life path number. What are some key insights they can gain from it?
Well, for instance, if you, again, the numbers are 1 through 9. And so if you're 1, the ones are the leaders. People look to ones as being the leaders. They're the trailblazers. If you're a 2, you're a diplomat. You're a mediator. You probably want to make sure everybody's and you're the one as the child that's kind of solved the solutions between squabbling siblings. If, for instance, 3s are the creatives. They're the actors, the dancers, the singers, the writers. I'm a 3. And the communicators. 3s like to talk. 4s are the worker bees. They're the ones that are really happy doing the same thing. They don't mind routine. In fact, they thrive on it. So those would be your accountants, your lawyers, your housekeepers, people that really like having the same thing every day. They feel strong in that. 5s are the promoters, the adventurers. They want to experience all of life. 6 are the caregivers. These are the people that are great nurturers. They love home and family. 7s, they're the researchers. They're the ones that ask the big questions. What's my life about? What are we doing here? They have a real strong spiritual path. They probably have some aptitude for technology, but they love to read. And in fact, you can just leave them alone and let them read. That's what they really like doing. 8, that 8 number again, that's the entrepreneur, the business person. Money is a very big part of an 8's life. Either they're very good at it and it comes easily to them, or life will present them with life lessons to teach them about money. And 9s are the humanitarians. They're the ones that are always doing something for people. They prefer the strong moral code. What you put out there, you get back. Yeah. And they're here to uplift humanity. That's what 9s do.
Super. I already calculated my wife's and my daughter's numbers. Now I got to know what they are.
Oh, good. Love it. I love it. That's great.
So
we'll talk about if they're compatible or not. Shall we talk about that too sometime? Okay.
Yeah. So let's move forward. And Susan, are there any particular challenges or strengths associated with each number? If so, please share them.
Yes. In fact, 7s, for instance. Well, I already talked about the 8s, that they're good with money or they're not good with money. But the 7s are the ones I said were great researchers. Well, they're also relationships are kind of a challenge to 7s. They love their own time and they need to have their own time, and they need a partner that understands their need to be alone and do their own internal work. So every number has a challenge and the gifts to it. Every number. There's not a bad number in them. I can say it that way. Ones really like having that being in charge, being the leader, but they also can sometimes be controlling and micromanaging. Twos, like I said, are the moderators. They sometimes they're just really happy to go along. There's the supportive ones, but sometimes they have a challenge standing up for themselves. Threes are the creatives, like I said, but they also have a challenge and they're coming up with ideas all the time, and they can get scattered. They can get overwhelmed with all their creativity, and then sometimes nothing happens. They can be a procrastinator. Fours, like I said, the great worker bees. However, sometimes they get stuck in their box. It's not a bad thing to get out of your box once in a while. And number five, they're the ones I said they love expansion, travel, adventure. Well, there's a threat sometimes that maybe they just become a nomad, and not get grounded. So there's a piece of that one. Six are the caregivers I told you, but sometimes they can go over the top and get into a codependent situation. They need to have good, strong boundaries. Sevens, I said, are the ones that they need a good partner to understand them. And nines, sometimes they are the ones that are, they're the humanitarians, but sometimes they can just never get grounded. They need to come back to earth every once in a while. So every number has a challenge and gifts all the time. One of them.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. And Susan, I've gone through your website, susanowens.com. It's all about your adventures, and it is so fascinating to see all the articles and to know and learn more about you, right? So I'm curious to hear from you in terms of a story from your travels that involves numerology.
Oh, there's so many. I think that I can talk about traveling through the days and the months, because numerology, like I said, we can get down to every year it changes. But if you're in an 8-year, which we are this year, well, there's a calculation that turns out that 7 is the month of August. I know August is an 8-month, but when you're in a year 8, August becomes a 7-month.
Oh,
So this is do a lot more research, which I am doing, and interviews, which I'm doing. It's really good to be able to communicate about what I'm doing. And so every month changes. Another thing I want to tell you, on my website, Wisdom in Numerology, you can sign up. It's a free one. You can sign up, and I send you, once you know your life path, I can send you a email every month, a newsletter telling you what month is which number for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I give you the idea of what's going on every month. And that's on wisdominnumerology.com.
Sure. So for those of you who have tuned into this episode, you'll find the link in the show notes or episode description. So go ahead and leverage that. And Susan, this has been an eye-opening conversation on numerology, and I've simply enjoyed the conversation so far. But it's time for us to add some more excitement and some more fun. So if you're ready, I'll kick off the second rapid fire round.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Okay, comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Life gets better and better. Absolutely. I believe that. And mine has. Yes, life gets better and better.
You know what's on my mobile wallpaper? Every day,
Wow.
in every way, I'm getting better and better. So this is one of the manifestations and which I started practicing, right? Yeah, I can resonate with you. And Susan, what's your life path number?
Well, I'm a 3, so I'm a creative. We love, you know that already, Naveen. I love to talk, and I love to communicate, and I love to share what I know.
Mhm.
And I'm working on another book for Wisdom and Numerology for teenagers. So anytime I can do something creative every day, it's a better day for sure.
Sounds so interesting. And Susan, can you describe yourself in just one word?
Well, lovable. And I say that because I love life. And again, that's a 3. 3s love life, but I do love life. And I like to think of myself as lovable. So we'll say it that way. And I have a very lovable dog, that kind of thing. It feels like love is a great part of my life.
Awesome. And what is the favorite country you have traveled to?
Oh, that's a tough one because there's been so many.
Mhm.
I'd have to say, you know what? I can do continent. I'd say Africa because it's so different and so diverse. I loved Asia. Oh, say, Navina, I can't answer that question because then I start thinking about all my adventures in Asia as well. And even in the United States, I've been to every state but Alaska. And there's been states and I've lived in a number of them just for a short period of time. So really, this is an incredible planet. I guess that's what I want to.
Yeah.
It's my favorite planet. Can I say that?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll take that. And what is the most memorable experience in Nepal?
Oh, I taught monks, young monks from the age of 5 to 22. I lived in a Manjushri school. It's a Buddhist school, and I stayed with them for a few weeks, and I taught these young monks. And I'm 5 years old, right? And I called them the monkeys. And it was just a term of endearment for them because they're boys, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they were so sweet, and they played football, right? Football every day in their robes and their slippers, and it didn't seem to matter that they were in these red robes and they could play their football on the playground below. It was wonderful, but that was an extraordinary experience for me. And the other thing in Nepal, the food was fabulous. I lived again with the monks, and there were a few other teachers there, and the food was so simple and so enriching. It surprised me. But again, the teaching part and living in community, that was the other piece, because everyone was so friendly to me. And of course, I stood out, right? I'm a blonde woman in Nepal. Are you kidding? I stand out. So that was an extraordinary experience. Also, I did the Vipassana meditation. Did I tell you about that one? That's a long story, but next time we'll get into that one next time.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing those. And a number that holds a special meaning for you.
Oh, they all do. There's not a bad number. I'd have to say my life path number because it's really truly who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And here comes the last question for the second rapid fire. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
This is a tough one because I know a lot of people. I've met a lot of people, and I listen to a lot of people. This one stands out to me because she was a dear friend, and I was tempted to quit grad school. It was a very challenging time in my life, and I felt like grad school was just one more thing that I couldn't finish. And if I quit, life would have been easier. But I didn't. I pushed through, and of course have a degree, and I got to teach at Gonzaga. But this one, she said, because I was talking to her about I'd really like to quit grad school, and she said, you'll never get very far if you quit halfway. And there's been a number of things in my life that I did quit, and I look back and I said, oh, I wish I'd pushed through. I would love to have been able to complete that. So for a 3, that's a pretty important piece of advice.
So you'll never get very far if you quit halfway. So powerful. And Susan, thank you so much for participating in the second rapid fire round. And let's flip back to the mainstream. And in addition to life path numbers, you also mentioned personal year numbers, right? So how can our audience calculate their personal year, and what does it signify?
Okay, this is easy too, because all you need is your birth month and your birthday. So for instance, if you were born today, again, August 10th, if you were born today, that would make 8 plus 1. We already figured out that was an 8. Right. So you take 8 plus 1, which is a 9, and you add it to the current year, which we figured out was an 8. So that would be an 8 life path. That's a life path number, and that would be your personal year. So you take your birth month and your birthday and you add it to your current year. So if you'd like to, Naveen, we can talk about you.
Yeah.
Can you give me your birth month and your birthday?
4th August.
Oh, happy birthday. I love it. Okay. So 8 plus 4 is 12, which makes 1 plus 2 is a 3.
Yeah.
And then we add that to 8. So 3 plus 8. Oh, you're in a master number year, but we'll talk about that later. But you're in a 2 year. Okay. So as a 2 year, that one is all about slowing down. And let me get back to the 1 year. I want to start there. So if you're in a 1 year, you've added your birth month and your birthday to 2024, and you come up with 1 digit. So if you're in a 1 year, that's your years to plant seeds for what you want to create in the next 9 years. Now, this is new beginnings. It's a rebirth. It's a year to be very active because you're really thinking about what is it that you want to manifest in the next 9 years. Now, the thing that I tell people and how to manifest, I give them 3 columns. And in the first column, it's what your must have. So what do I want to have? What can I really must have in the next 9 years? Well, good health, for instance, that would be a must have. I have good health. And then in the second column, I write down, what is it? And of course, I'm a writer, so I write it down. Your would be nice if, well, okay. So it'd be nice if I lost a few pounds. That's a lot of things, but and this is just minimal, right? I mean, this is what you must have. I'm just talking about health, but all of your must haves, whatever they are, all of the things that would be nice in your life. And then the third one is your wildest dreams. Now, really, this is where you do not censor yourself. You just go crazy. Just let your imagination run wild. What's in your wildest dreams do you want to create in the next 9 years? That's what you do in a 1 year. In a 2 year, it's all about slowing down. Now, this is you, Naveen. This is you. This is your 2 year. Slow down, regroup. And in that 1 year, it's all about you. In the 2 year, you really listen to others. It's a year of receiving, and especially it's a year to listen to your divine guidance. Absolutely. It's that 2 energy, and especially in 11-2, is all about having a connection to a higher source. This is where you go inward a lot. You use your diplomacy skills. The 2 is really indicative of what you and I are doing now. It's about partnership and working together. Moderation. A lot of times, 2, oddly, you find a new home. If you're have it in the back of your mind, maybe you want to move. Sometimes you move in a 2 year. It's a year to go with the flow. This is not a year in a 2 year to row your boat upstream, if you will. It's a year just to kind of sit back and nurture the seeds, like I said, that you planted in that 1 year. So a 3 year being the creative year, this is the year to expand your imagination and really express yourself. Get in touch with whatever your emotions are and be able to communicate with those. It's a year to really put manifest your dreams and be social. A lot of times in a 3 year, your social calendar is really full. It's a time, and sometimes that's hard for some numbers, but really it's a time to get yourself out there. Connect with people, express yourself, watch your extravagance, because a lot of times 3s like to spend money. But 3 is it's a lucky number also. And it's a year to really enjoy life and do it as much as you can, because the next year in a 4 year, that's going to be your working year. That's where what we say, keep your nose to the grindstone, right? And you just focus on building your strong foundation, because you're going to need one for the next years. Structure, discipline, focus, diligence, really, really important in a 4 year. A lot of times legal issues come up in a 4 year. 5 year, all about movement, expansion, change, searching for freedom, really experiencing life. A lot of surprises in a 5 year. And that's why you need that really strong foundation you built in a 4 year. So it's risk, adventure, opportunities, being courageous, take advantage of any opportunity that comes, because there will be some in a 5 year. And likely at the end of a 5 year, you're going to look back and go, I'm not the same person. My life's not the same as it was when I started that year. And a 6 year, responsibility, home, family. Likely your family's going to need you more in a 6 year. Responsibility, universal love, harmony. Relationship is under the spotlight. All of them, not just your romantic ones, all your relationships, because 6 is about a relationship year. So you're looking at marriage and divorce year. That's what we call it. It's pretty extreme, but it's you either renew your vows or you start thinking of something else, or somewhere along that spectrum. It's a caregiver year. So, and 7 year is the year to go inward, which is kind of what you need after that 6 year of being a caregiver. The 7 year, you get to go inward and rest, really re-examine what your life's direction is. Introspective. It's a personal growth year. That's the year I tell people, go take do a vision quest, but really think about what your spiritual quests are. And ask those big questions about life mysteries. An 8-year, we talked about that. It's power, business, being management, an entrepreneur, serving the greater good. And it's an outward focus. It's your career focus in an 8-year. And then again, the 9 years is about completion, harvest, rebirth, cleaning out your closets, getting rid of things that you don't want to take into the next 9-year cycle. And that's the way I tell people to look at it, not about what you have to let go of, but what is it that you really want to take with you into the future? Really future focused rather than turning around looking at the past.
Superb. We have had extraordinary conversation and I thoroughly enjoyed our discussion today. And Susan, thank you so much for being part of our journey. And how is your experience being hosted on TGV, the guiding voice?
Oh, I love it. Well, what's not to like, Naveen? I told you I love to talk for one thing, and I get to be the authority, and it's fun to answer questions. It's fun to be interviewed and talk about my life passion, which is numerology and travel and adventure and all of it. So absolutely, I really, really enjoyed being here. It went quickly, darn it.
Indeed. And thank you so much once again and looking forward to hosting you again in future. So appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Naveen. I'd love to come back anytime.
Thank you. So friends, that was our episode with Suzan Owens. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request in case if you haven't already subscribed. Please subscribe to our podcast. And also, if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who'd also like TGV. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Have tuned into TGV and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording, and we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak, and here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future, and we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. Now let's hop into the trivia segment. Having had amazing conversation with Suzan Owens on numerology, I thought I would present you few lesser known facts about numerology. First one is about ancient roots. You know, numerology dates back to the ancient civilizations like Babylon and Egypt. Pythagorean, the Greek philosopher, is often credited with popularizing numerology in the West. Second is about Pythagorean numerology. It is also known as modern numerology. It assigns a number value to each letter of the alphabet. For example, A is 1, B is 2, etc. And this system is still widely used. And third is about Chaldean's numerology. This is again originating from ancient Babylon, differs from Pythagorean numerology by assigning different number values to letters and considering the name's vibration more closely. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. Folks, thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey into numerology with Suzan Owens. And we encourage you to calculate your life path number and see what insights it brings into your life. And for more about Susan's adventures and numerology tips, visit our website, susanowens.com. And the link is available in the show notes or the episode description. And folks, we would love to hear from you. So do not forget to share your life path discoveries with us on social media. And also share your ideas, feedback, topic recommendations, and guest speaker suggestions either through social media, or you can email us at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. 4 as in the digit 4 and you as in letter U. And let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner. And my goal is to have impactful conversations that simplify and amplify your life's success. So until next time, keep exploring and embracing your unique path. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all.